I'm Claudine Wong from KTVU in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm joined now by Arjun Govind, who is joining us from New York City, 16 years old, a junior in high school. Thanks so much for joining us. Tell me how you're handling all of this. Tell me about life in New York City right now.
It's definitely been a crazy experience. Nothing I've ever, experienced before. But actually, I found, a newfound sense of freedom in quarantine. During the school year, everything's pretty hectic. I'm taking AP classes and I have SAT prep. But now that I'm in quarantine, I sort of have this time to myself, and I've been able to, explore new interests of mine. And so it's definitely been an interesting experience.
Did you go through a point where you kind of hated it and then you started to appreciate it and now you're kind of in a different place? Because I think we've all kind of gone through this whole process of
Yeah,
getting used to
no, it
this
was
new life.
definitely like that. I mean, pretty much, one day I was taking the subway to school, and the next day the entire city was shut down. So I think initially I was pretty much just shocked, and it was definitely a hard transition. But then I sort of got into a flow, and was able to create like a schedule for myself. So I was able to get my work done, early in the week, and then have the rest of the time to myself, and just explore new interests of mine.
which is we're all learning new things that we never had time to learn before. Tell me about your life in your house with your family and what your daily routine looks like.
Yeah, so I mean, I have two sisters. I have an older sister and younger sister. My older sister is in college, but she's here right now. And I have a younger sister in middle school. So having two siblings in the house is definitely a challenging experience. And then also my dad and mom both work from home. So having five people in a small apartment is definitely not an easy thing.
It's a little more pressure
Um,
than you're used to, right?
Definitely.
And how
But
much were
we
you
get used
going?
to.
Yeah, how much were you going out? Because for a while everyone was really hunkering down. So were
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, in the beginning, I stayed in like completely, never left the house. And then, I would go for bike rides because I felt that was the safest way to, explore the city while, being distanced from people. And then, I sort of had the idea for the film, and I started filming that.
Yeah, we're going to play that film in just a second, but tell me about the idea behind it. Tell me kind of the thought process of when you decided, you know what, now I'm riding my bike and now, you know, really kind of making a permanent record of what you're seeing every day. How did that kind of come about?
Yeah, I mean, it was just me sort of being curious of, what had actually happened to my city. I was shocked in the beginning. So, after I went out biking, I saw what the city was really like. And I just started shooting, small videos here and there. And then I started putting it together into a small video. And I realized, this could actually have potential. So it definitely started with me just being, curious to see what had actually happened out there.
Can I ask if
And then also,
is filmmaking something that you were interested in?
yeah, no, yeah, I've made short films in the past. Definitely nothing like this. But yeah, it's definitely something I was passionate about beforehand. And then I'm sure Casey Neistat, a famous YouTuber. He made a similar video of biking New York City during Hurricane Sandy.
Mm.
And so I was also inspired by that video.
Okay, well, I'm going to play it. I'm going to start it kind of midstream because this is the part where you get on your bike and you show us, and we'll just listen to a few minutes of it and watch it just for a few moments.
Welcome to my world. Won't you come on in?
So as that plays, tell me a little bit about how long it took you to shoot this. Obviously, this is a rainy day, and there were days where it wasn't raining.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I shot over about 2 weeks. The initial first week, it was just sort of me exploring and seeing what the city was like, and finding interesting locations to shoot. And then by the second week, I'd really established what I was going to do. And then I think in the second week, I shot most of the footage in about 2 or 3 days. So actually, all this rainy footage was shot in one day.
In one day.
Um, mhm.
What every filmmaker, right, has a sense that you want for people to get, and we see you there, on your bike just filming, and it does have a positive. It does feel to me like a bit of a love affair, showing the city that you love as well. I mean, you could tell this story in a lot of different ways. Um,
Mm.
what did you want people to get out of it when they watched it?
I really just wanted to capture not just what the city was, look like, but also what it felt like to really be here during this time, which is something hard to really, recreate on film. But I know I tried my best to recreate that, the mood of what New York City was like during this, during this time. And then also it was just for me, the most interesting thing is just seeing how different people are affected by it. I don't think I had one single intent. Um, I just wanted to see how different people would, how it would touch them differently, and how different people reacted to it.
And what kind of reactions are you getting?
I was totally shocked when some people told me they cried. It was not a reaction I thought it would have on people. And so I think everyone sort of had this. For a New Yorker to watch this, it means one thing, and then I'm sure for you to watch it, it means something completely different. So it's actually been very mixed, the reactions people have had.
Well, right. Since I'm not from New York City, what I get out of it in terms of when I'm watching it too is the city that I love to visit, and all those
Hmm.
places that when you visit New York City, you take in the bustling and the subway, and it's just part of the visit. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
seeing it, I've never seen it like that before. I mean, we've never seen
Yeah.
any of our cities in San Francisco when the streets are empty. That's not a normal occurrence as well, but New York has something different. I think you're right for all of us, in
Hmm.
terms of, so your reaction when you see it, what do you get out of your own film?
Well, it's interesting because having shot it and been out on the streets, I feel like I have a completely different perspective. I think more for me, what I get out of it is, actually having biked the streets and saw what New York City was like. And it was definitely a shock to me, but I feel like it's still the same city. I just feel like it's going through a phase right now. And I mean, already now it's completely different than when I had shot it, which was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the city is a completely different place now. So I just feel like the city is constantly changing. And this was just a phase that it's sort of going through.
Are you so glad you recorded it though? Hopefully we don't ever go back to that again, where the
Yeah.
streets are empty and we can't go out, and New York was seemingly went to sleep. It was like Sleeping
Hmm.
Beauty, where everyone just went to sleep for a little while because no one could go out. How important do you think, and how glad are you that you have that captured to be able to look back and
Yeah.
remember it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely going to be special watching it, I mean, like a year from now or just, in the future, I think I mean, as tragic as it is, I think it's still a moment that, we have to all remember. And I think I'm really happy with how the final result came out, and that I feel like I captured the moment, what it was 2 weeks ago when it was probably the worst here in New York, um, pretty well. So I'm glad I have that so I can always, look back at it.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job. Were there any places, as you look into, the space of what you chose to ride your bike through, that you wanted to make sure? I mean, there's certainly, as we see it, a lot of different spots that you hit. Um,
Mhm.
what did you think had to be in there for you to say this is going to be New York City for people who live here and people who have visited and people who have never been?
Yeah, so I mean, the beginning portion is definitely a lot of Lower Manhattan, which is my community. I live downtown Manhattan, and so I wanted to definitely focus on that. And also, those are just some of the most crowded locations.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also wanted to get some of the iconic locations like Times Square. I got the
The bridge,
Bull,
and yeah.
just yeah, something that would resonate with people that didn't also live here. So yeah, I wanted to get sort of a mix of both worlds.
So what do you do next? Now that you've put this project under your belt, because it tells a big story. What's next in terms of which stories you want to tell?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer for you, but I mean, I definitely think, I want to continue making films and videos. Um, and I think there might be room for another video about, about recovering from this. But I'm still sort of sort of figuring it out. I
Do
don't know
you
if I can
think
give
you
you a
told this
definite answer.
story from a 16-year-old's perspective or just from a New Yorker's perspective? Does your age have anything to do with it? I mean, um, how do you think your age played into this?
I think that's an interesting question. I mean, I definitely, um, I think it was for a 16-year-old, for a teenager to watch this. I think, um, I definitely it was from the perspective of obviously a 16-year-old, but some of the spots and locations I shot at, shot in the city, might resonate more with a teenager, I'd say.
Mm.
I did get some schools. I did Lincoln Center, which is right by our school. But I am a New Yorker, so in many ways, I feel like it doesn't really make a difference whether I'm a 16-year-old or a New Yorker.
Yeah, and I just asked that because I mean, I didn't get that sense. I get it. I get the sense of a New Yorker's view of the city that they call home
Yeah.
and that they love, and obviously, the medical is and Elmhurst is a part of the story being told by New York Now. But I
Hmm.
think that urban living, maybe just the bike part. I don't know how many people are riding bikes and how many people aren't, but obviously that is a part of your life that is you're very comfortable, on
Hmm.
that bike and giving that tour.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
almost done with school.
Almost. Yep. I think one more. Yeah, one more month.
1 more month. Oh, that's longer than a lot of people.
We end in June.
So yeah, I just congratulate you. I think it was a
Thank you.
fantastic project. You're very well spoken and talented, and I have a feeling we'll be seeing lots more films for you in the years to
Thank
come.
you. That really means a lot.
And so I appreciate it. You've got the documentarian, historic and filmmaker, and it really, as someone who loves to visit New York, really enjoyed watching it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Best of luck to you, Arjun. I think you have big stuff ahead, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And for more interviews, you can, of course, go to coronavirusnow.com. Thanks so much for watching.